The quantum drives hummed beneath Captain Sarah Chen's feet as she stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Earth's first post-quantum warship. After 15 years of secret development in the Kuiper Belt shipyards, they were about to attempt their first full-power jump. The vessel represented humanity's greatest technological achievement and their most closely guarded secret. Final systems check complete. Captain Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported from his station, dark eyes fixed on the holographic displays floating before him. Quantum matrix is stable at 99.8%, better than any test run. Sarah nodded, trying to keep her expression neutral despite the gravity of the moment. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was humanity's insurance policy. For decades, Earth had maintained a carefully crafted image of technological mediocrity, appearing to be nothing more than a minor species barely worth the attention of the galaxy's major powers. But beneath that facade, they had been preparing. "Begin jump sequence," Sarah ordered. "Let's see what she can really do." The bridge crew worked with practiced precision, their movements betraying none of the anxiety they must have felt. They had trained for this moment in simulators, but this was different. This was real. "Jump coordinates locked in," announced Navigator Mayapatl. "Target is the Horsehead Nebula's outer rim. Uninhabited space, minimal traffic. The perfect testing ground, far from prying eyes." "Quantum field generating," Rodriguez reported. 30 seconds to jump." Sarah gripped the railing of her command station. The Prometheus represented a technological leap that should have taken centuries. But humanity had always excelled at doing the impossible when backed into a corner. "Field at maximum. Jump in 10, 9. The countdown continued, and Sarah felt the subtle vibration through the deck plates change pitch. The quantum drive wasn't just an engine. It was a new way of looking at physics itself. 3, 2, 1. Reality twisted. The jump lasted both an instant and an eternity. When the universe snapped back into focus, they were somewhere else entirely. The familiar stars had been replaced by the ghostly purple-tinged gases of the Horsehead Nebula. "Jump successful," Rodriguez announced, relief evident in his voice. "All systems nominal. We're exactly where we should be." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Well done, everyone. Begin passive scans of the local space. Let's make sure we're alone out here." But they weren't alone. "Captain," the tactical officer's voice cut through the celebratory mood. "Multiple contacts just dropped out of FTL. 7. No, 12 vessels. Configuration unknown." Sarah's smile vanished. "Show me." The main view screen shifted, displaying a group of ships unlike anything in Earth's database. They were organic-looking things, all curves and irregular shapes, utterly alien in their design philosophy. "They're scanning us," Rodriguez reported. "Heavy scanning." "There, Captain, they're powering up weapons." Sarah's mind raced. First contact scenarios had been drilled into every officer, but this was different. The Prometheus wasn't supposed to be seen by anyone. Its very existence was classified at the highest levels. "Open channels," she ordered. "All frequencies. Channel open." "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Prometheus. We mean no harm and are engaged in peaceful exploration. Please respond." The response came in the form of energy weapons fire. 3 of the alien vessels launched a coordinated attack, their weapons cutting through space toward the Prometheus. "Evasive action," Sarah barked. "Defensive systems online." The Prometheus moved with impossible grace for a ship its size, its quantum-enhanced systems allowing it to partially phase through spacetime as it dodged. The alien weapons passed through empty space where they had been milliseconds before. "They're targeting our drive systems," Rodriguez reported. "These aren't pirates. Their attack pattern is too coordinated. This is a military force." Sarah's jaw tightened. They had hoped to keep the Prometheus secret for longer, to perfect its systems before revealing humanity's true technological level. That was no longer an option. "Signal Earth Command," she ordered. Priority 1 message, then get us out of here. They're trying to block our communications. Use the quantum entanglement backup, Sarah countered. Earth couldn't be left in the dark about this. The galaxy was about to change, whether they were ready or not. As the Prometheus prepared for another jump, Sarah watched the alien ships maneuver with practiced precision. They were professionals, whoever they were, and they had recognized something in the Prometheus that frightened them enough to attack without warning. The message was clear. Humanity's secret was out, and not everyone would be happy about Earth's technological leap forward. Jump ready, Rodriguez announced. Get us out of here, Sarah ordered. Random coordinates, just make it far. As space twisted around them once again, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy's power structure was about to be upended, and the Prometheus would be at the center of it all. Humanity's careful plans for a controlled revelation of their true capabilities had just been shot to hell. Now they would have to improvise. And if there was one thing humans were good at, it was improvising. The Prometheus materialized in a quiet sector of space, its quantum drives cooling after the emergency jump. Captain Chen watched as her crew worked to assess their situation, their movements precise despite the tension filling the bridge. Damage report, she ordered, keeping her voice steady. Minimal surface damage to the outer hull, Rodriguez responded, his fingers dancing across his holographic interface. The quantum phasing worked exactly as designed. Most of their shots passed right through us. Maya spoke up from her navigation station. Captain, I've identified our location. We're in the Carina sector, about 40 light-years from Earth. Sarah nodded, her mind already racing through scenarios. The alien force that had attacked them hadn't been random pirates or opportunists. They had known exactly what to target, which meant Earth's security had been compromised somewhere along the line. Dr. Walsh to the bridge, she called over the ship's comm. The Prometheus's lead scientist needed to be part of this discussion. Minutes later, Dr. Eleanor Walsh strode onto the bridge, her gray hair tied back in a severe bun. She had been one of the key architects of the quantum drive technology, and if anyone could make sense of what had just happened, it would be her. Those ships recognize our drive signature, Sarah said without preamble. How is that possible? Eleanor's expression grew troubled. It shouldn't be. The quantum manipulation field is completely novel physics. Unless, she trailed off, lost in thought. Unless what, Doctor? Unless they've seen something like it before. Eleanor moved to one of the science stations, bringing up data from their encounter. Not our technology specifically, but something that operates on similar principles. Captain, I need to show you something. The main view screen filled with complex equations and field diagrams. Look at their weapon signatures. They weren't trying to destroy us. They were trying to disrupt our quantum field. They knew exactly what we were doing and how to counter it. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. You're saying they've encountered quantum technology before? Not exactly the same as ours, but similar enough to recognize it. Captain, I don't think we're the first species to discover these principles. We might just be the first to weaponize them effectively. A new alert cut through their discussion. Multiple contacts. The tactical officer announced. Same configuration as before, but more of them. 20 ships at least. How did they find us so quickly? Sarah demanded. They're tracking our quantum wake, Eleanor realized. Every jump leaves a distinct signature in spacetime. They must have developed sensors specifically designed to detect it. Sarah's mind raced. They couldn't keep running. Eventually, they'd be cornered. And Earth needed to know what they were facing. Dr. Walsh, can we modify our quantum field? Make it look different somehow? Eleanor's eyes lit up with understanding. Yes, we could modulate the field frequency. It would be like changing our signature. But Captain, it would require taking the drive offline for at least 10 minutes to recalibrate. 10 minutes we don't have, Rodriguez pointed out, gesturing to the approaching alien fleet. Sarah straightened in her chair. Then we make them give us 10 minutes. Lieutenant Rodriguez, bring all weapons online. Maya plot a course directly through the center of their formation. Captain. Maya's voice held a note of surprise. They expect us to run. So we'll do the opposite. If they know quantum technology, let's show them what happens when humans decide to get creative with it. The crew snapped into action, their training taking over. The Prometheus's weapons systems came online, not just conventional energy weapons, but specialized systems designed to take advantage of their quantum field technology. Dr. Walsh, start your modifications. Everyone else, battle stations. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Let's show them why humanity kept this ship secret for so long. The alien fleet approached in an attack formation that spoke of centuries of military tradition. They were disciplined, coordinated, and utterly unprepared for what the Prometheus was about to do. All power to forward quantum fields, Sarah ordered. Prepare to execute Attack Pattern Delta. Attack Pattern Delta was something they had only tested in simulations, using the quantum drive's reality warping effects offensively. In theory, it would allow them to be in multiple places simultaneously for a fraction of a second, making it impossible for enemies to track their true position. They're charging weapons, Tactical reported. Let them. Sarah responded. Execute Delta on my mark. The alien fleet opened fire, their coordinated attack filling space with energy beams and exotic particles. But the Prometheus was already shifting, its quantum field splintering reality around it. For a brief moment, there were 5 Prometheuses, each one seemingly solid, each one targeting that different enemy vessel. The alien fleet's fire passed through 4 phantom ships, while the real Prometheus's weapons found their marks with devastating precision. 3 enemy ships disabled, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with concentration. They're breaking formation. Dr. Walsh. Sarah called out. Field modifications at 60%. We need another 6 minutes. Sarah watched as the alien fleet regrouped, their formation shifting into something new. They were adapting, learning. But so were the humans. Prepare for Attack Pattern Epsilon, she ordered. They had more tricks to show, more innovations that pushed the boundaries of what their quantum technology could do. The real battle was just beginning, and with it, the galaxy's first true glimpse of what humanity had been quietly working on all these years. The message reached Earth hours after the Prometheus's first encounter. In the United Earth Defense Council chamber, Admiral Helena Martinez watched the assembled representatives react to the news. The carefully maintained facade of human technological mediocrity had been shattered, and now the political fallout was beginning. The Axari Confederation vessels opened fire without provocation, she explained, gesturing to the holographic replay of the Prometheus's sensor data. Captain Chen's response was measured and appropriate. Appropriate. The Chinese representative leaned forward. That ship wasn't supposed to be seen by anyone. 15 years of secrecy, blown in a single encounter. Perhaps, the Indian representative countered. This is exactly what we needed. The Axari have been pushing into our territory for years, thinking us too weak to respond. Now they know differently. Admiral Martinez raised her hand for silence. We're receiving new transmissions, not just from the Axari, from 6 species. The quantum wake of the Prometheus drive has been detected across 3 sectors. Everyone wants to know what we've built. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Humanity's careful dance of appearing harmless, while secretly developing revolutionary technology, had always been a gamble. Now the dice have been rolled. On the Prometheus, Captain Chen was dealing with the immediate consequences of that gamble. The ship hung in space at the edge of a nebula, its quantum field successfully recalibrated to mask their signature. Dr. Walsh's modifications had worked, but the cost had been high. 3 crew members were in medical bay with radiation burns from pushing the drive systems beyond their tested limits. New transmission incoming, Rodriguez reported. It's not from the Axari. Sarah straightened in her chair. Source: the Meridian Alliance. They're requesting direct communication. The Meridians, one of the oldest spacefaring races, known for their philosophical approach to technology and their general neutrality in galactic politics. Sarah exchanged glances with Dr. Walsh, who had joined her on the bridge. Put them through. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a Meridian elder. Their crystalline form shifted colors as they spoke, their translated words carrying subtle harmonics that suggested curiosity rather than hostility. Vessel Prometheus, the elder began, we have observed your encounter with the Axari fleet. Your technological achievement interests us. Sarah chose her words carefully. We appreciate your interest, elder. However, I'm not authorized to discuss the specifics of our technology. Understandable. But perhaps we might discuss something else. The Axari's response to your vessel was telling. They fear what you have created. Fear often leads to poor decisions. Are you warning us, elder? The Meridian's colors shifted to deeper blues. The Axari Confederation has called an emergency session of the Galactic Council. They are attempting to classify quantum manipulation technology as a restricted science. They claim it's too dangerous to be wielded by younger species. Sarah felt her jaw tighten. Convenient, now that they've seen what we can do with it. Indeed. The Meridian's tone carried a hint of amusement. The Meridian Alliance disagrees with their position. We believe that innovation should not be stifled by fear. We have voted to recognize Earth's sovereign right to develop its technology independently. Back on Earth, Admiral Martinez was receiving similar messages. The galaxy was rapidly dividing into factions, those who saw humanity's quantum leap as a threat, and those who recognized an opportunity. The Centauri League has offered us full technological exchange rights, her aide reported. The Vega Collective wants to establish a joint research initiative, and the Pleiades Federation is suggesting a military alliance. Martinez studied the stream of diplomatic communications flooding in. Humanity had spent decades playing the role of the quiet, unassuming species on the galactic fringe. That role had served its purpose, allowing them to develop the Prometheus in secret. But now, send word to the Prometheus, she ordered. Tell Captain Chen that her new mission is diplomatic engagement. We need allies who understand what we're trying to achieve. True innovation, not just copying existing technology. On the Prometheus, Sarah received her new orders just as the ship's sensors detected another Axari battle fleet entering the sector. But this time, they weren't alone. 3 Meridian vessels dropped out of FTL nearby, taking up defensive positions around the human ship. The Axari fleet is requesting communication, Rodriguez reported. Sarah smiled. The game had changed. Earth was no longer the quiet species in the corner, pretending to be less than they were. Now they were players on the galactic stage, and their innovations had caught the attention of both enemies and allies. Open a channel, she ordered. Let's show them what humanity can really do when we don't have to hide anymore. The political dance was beginning, and humanity's place in the galaxy would never be the same. The question was no longer whether they could compete with the older species, but how their unique approach to technology would reshape the balance of power. The warning came too late. As Admiral Martinez rushed into the emergency command center beneath Geneva, the first wave of Axari warships was already dropping out of FTL at the edge of the solar system. Their response to humanity's quantum technology had escalated from fear to outright aggression. Status of the defense fleet, she demanded, watching as holographic displays materialized around her. Deploying now, but our conventional ships don't stand a chance against a fleet this size, her tactical officer reported. We're detecting over 200 vessels, including at least 40 capital ships. Martinez's expression hardened. The Axari had decided to eliminate the threat of human innovation before it could spread further. Their fleet had bypassed all the diplomatic channels, all the ongoing negotiations at the Galactic Council. This was a preemptive strike aimed at Earth itself. Get me the Prometheus, she ordered. Thousands of light years away, Captain Sarah Chen watched her own tactical display with growing horror. The Prometheus had been conducting joint exercises with their new Meridian allies when the emergency transmission reached them. Earth is under attack, Sarah announced to her crew. The Axari are making their move. Dr. Walsh stepped forward, her face pale. Captain, even at maximum quantum jump capacity, it will take us at least 4 hours to reach Earth. The battle will be over by then. Then we'll have to be creative, Sarah responded. She turned to her crew. Dr. Walsh, you've been theorizing about extending our quantum field effects. Time to put those theories to the test. The scientist's eyes widened. Captain, you can't mean. The cascading field effect is completely untested. We could tear the ship apart. Better that than watching Earth fall. Sarah's voice was steel. How long to modify the drive? 30 minutes, minimum. But Captain, you need to understand what we're attempting. We're not just going to jump. We're going to try to take a piece of space-time with us. Back at Earth, the battle was beginning. The Axari fleet moved with practiced precision, their formations perfect, their tactics honed by centuries of military tradition. Earth's defense fleet fought bravely, but they were hopelessly outgunned. Admiral Martinez watched as the first line of Earth's defenders was swept aside. The Axari weren't just attacking. They were methodically dismantling Earth's defensive infrastructure. Their energy weapons targeted satellites, defense platforms, and shipyards with surgical precision. Ma'am, her aide reported, we're receiving transmissions from our allies. The Meridians are mobilizing, but they're too far out. The Centauri are launching their fleet, but they won't arrive in time. Martinez nodded grimly. Then we make our stand here. Launch everything we have, and get me a direct channel to the Prometheus. On the Prometheus, the engineering bay had been transformed into organized chaos. Dr. Walsh led a team of engineers in rapidly modifying the quantum drive systems, pushing them far beyond their designed capabilities. The cascading field effect could create a quantum tunnel, she explained as she worked. In theory, we could drag a portion of space-time with us through the jump. The problem is, we've never attempted anything on this scale. What's the worst that could happen? Sarah asked. We could create a temporary black hole, tear a hole in space-time, or scatter our atoms across 3 sectors. Walsh didn't look up from her work. But if it works, we could bring help with us. Sarah understood. The Prometheus had been conducting exercises with 3 Meridian warships. If they could extend their quantum field to encompass their allies. How much longer? Field modifications at 80%, Walsh reported. But Captain, even if this works, we'll only have one shot. The drive will burn out after a jump of this magnitude. At Earth, the situation was deteriorating rapidly. The Axari fleet had broken through the outer defense perimeter and was moving towards the planet itself. Their weapons were specifically calibrated to penetrate Earth's defensive shields. They had been planning this attack for some time. They're launching dropships, Tactical reported. Ground invasion incoming. Martinez felt her hands clench into fists. Earth had known this day might come, the day when their technological leap forward would provoke a response. But they had hoped for more time. On the Prometheus, Dr. Walsh's modifications were complete. The ship's quantum drive hummed with a new dangerous tone that made the deck plates vibrate. Field extensions ready, she reported. Our Meridian allies are in position. Sarah took a deep breath. What they were about to attempt went beyond experimental. It was practically theoretical physics made real through desperate necessity. Send word to the Meridian ships, she ordered. Tell them to power down all non-essential systems and divert everything to their structural integrity fields. This is going to be rough. The message from Earth came through. The Axari had begun their invasion. There was no more time for testing or preparation. All hands, brace for quantum jump, Sarah announced shipwide. We're about to try something that's either brilliant or suicidal. As the drive powered up, the quantum field extended outward, enveloping not just the Prometheus, but the 3 Meridian warships as well. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around them. Jump initiating in 10 seconds, Rodriguez reported, his voice tense. Field stability at critical levels. Sarah gripped her command chair. They were about to attempt the impossible, because humanity had run out of alternatives. It was time to show the galaxy why humans had a reputation for doing the seemingly impossible when backed into a corner. Jump. Now. Reality shattered and reformed. The quantum tunnel collapsed behind the Prometheus and its Meridian allies as they burst into normal space directly above Earth's atmosphere. The ship's hull groaned under the strain, systems redlining across all decks. But they had made it, and they weren't alone. Status of the Meridian ships, Sarah demanded, fighting to stay in her chair as the ship's stabilizers struggled to compensate. All three present and accounted for, Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with disbelief. They're damaged but operational. Captain, we did it. We actually did it. Dr. Walsh's voice came over the comm, breathless but triumphant. The quantum drive is completely burnt out. We'll never jump like that again, but we've just rewritten the laws of physics. There was no time to celebrate. The Axari invasion fleet hung over Earth like a storm cloud, their dropships already descending toward the surface. But they had never expected to face the Prometheus here, not this quickly, and certainly not with Meridian allies in tow. The Axari fleet is breaking formation, Tactical reported. They're trying to regroup. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Not this time. Signal the Meridian ships. Execute attack pattern Omega. And get me Earth command. Admiral Martinez's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression shifting from desperation to hope as she saw what had arrived. Captain Chin. How? No time to explain, Admiral. Request permission to coordinate Earth's defense fleet. We have a plan. Martinez nodded sharply. Granted. All Earth forces are now under your tactical command. Sarah turned to her crew. This is what we've trained for. The Prometheus may not be able to jump anymore, but we still have every other trick we developed. Rodriguez, deploy the quantum phase missiles. Maya, plot an intercept course with their flagship. Dr. Walsh. Already on it, Captain, the scientist replied. Reconfiguring our remaining quantum field generators for localized space-time distortion. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The Prometheus, despite its burnt-out quantum drive, demonstrated why humanity's approach to warfare was unlike anything the older species had seen. Quantum phase missiles passed through Axari shields as if they didn't exist, their warheads rematerializing inside enemy ships. The Meridian vessels, coordinating perfectly with human tactics, used their own advanced technology in ways their conservative society had never contemplated. Earth's conventional fleet, previously outmatched, now had openings to exploit as the Axari struggled to adapt to the chaos the Prometheus was creating. Space itself seemed to twist and bend around the human vessel as Dr. Walsh's modifications turned their defensive systems into weapons. Their flagship is trying to retreat, Rodriguez reported. They're calling back their dropships. But Sarah wasn't finished. Signal the Meridians. Time for the final act. The remaining quantum field generators on the Prometheus powered up one last time, not for a jump, but for something else, creating a localized field of distorted space-time around the Axari flagship. They wanted to restrict quantum technology, Sarah said quietly. Let's show them why that would be a mistake. The field took hold, and for a brief moment, the massive Axari vessel existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. When reality snapped back into focus, their weapons, shields, and engines had desynchronized from normal spacetime. The mighty flagship hung helpless in space. Axari fleet is signaling surrender, Tactical announced. All ships powering down weapons. Admiral Martinez's voice came through again. The invasion force is retreating. Ground forces are standing down. Captain, you did it. But Sarah wasn't celebrating yet. Open a channel to the Axari flagship. The alien commander appeared on screen, their insectoid features rigid with what might have been shock or anger. You attacked us because you feared what we might become. Sarah said clearly. But you never understood what humanity already is. We don't just copy technology. We reimagine it. We don't just follow principles. We rewrite them. And we're not going to hide anymore. The Axari commander spoke slowly. The Galactic Council will hear of this. Good. Sarah's voice was firm. They should know that humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. Not as subordinates, not as students, but as equals. We bring something unique to the galaxy. The ability to look at old problems in new ways. In the days that followed, the political landscape of the galaxy shifted dramatically. The Axari Confederation's attempt to restrict quantum technology was unanimously rejected by the Galactic Council. Instead, a new era of technological exchange began, with Earth's innovative approach to physics becoming highly sought after. The Prometheus, though never able to perform its revolutionary quantum jump again, became a symbol of humanity's contribution to galactic civilization. Not just the technology itself, but the creative spirit that had developed it. As Sarah stood on the bridge of her damaged but victorious ship, Dr. Walsh approached with a tablet. "Captain, you should see this. I've been analyzing the data from our last jump. What we did, it wasn't just a desperate gamble. We've proven that the laws of physics themselves are more flexible than anyone believed. The implications," Sarah smiled, "are going to keep the galaxy's scientists busy for centuries." Exactly. Walsh's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We didn't just win a battle, Captain. We opened a door. And now everyone gets to see what's on the other side." The quantum drive that had brought them to this moment was burnt out, but humanity's drive to innovate, to push boundaries, to find new solutions to old problems, that was just getting started. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been working toward all along.